All right, so I'm officially recording the meeting. Can everyone hear me good?
I can
Yes.
hear a little bit. It's like it's low.
Um, well, I have my volume up, so do you need to turn your volume up?
I got mine up too.
Okay, so, but I do have my volume up. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but like I said, it's a little bit low. I'm fine though. I got on speakerphone.
Are you on your phone or the computer? Mary, are you on your phone or the computer? Kiana,
Uh-huh.
you can hear me okay, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
I'm going through I'm on the app, the go to meeting app.
okay, so she must, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started because it's 9:07. So I want us to go ahead and get this over with so we can um, be out on time and stuff. So she'll probably just chime back in. I'm gonna record this video anyway. So um, every time we do a go to meeting, I'll always record the video. So that way, if there's an issue, you can't hear something,
I can
or
hear you now.
if you
I,
um, if you miss hearing something or if you miss writing down something during the meeting, I'll always upload them. Now, we'll have a meeting. We'll have a go-to meeting every Monday morning at 9 unless I state otherwise. Like, say, for instance, if I can't meet for a live meeting, I'll still do a pre-recorded video and then I'll still upload it for that day that we were actually going to have the meeting. So that's going to be like every Monday. So when you come into the course shell, and you actually looking at your class and you going up under day 1, day 2, day 3, just know every Monday, whatever day that falls on, so the next one will be like day 5. If we don't have a live meeting, you'll still go up under day 5, click on go to meeting, and you'll see the video loaded down there. Okay, so but as soon as I finish today's or this morning's meeting, I am going to upload that and put it under day 1, and you'll click on the link that says go to meeting, and you'll see the video loaded. Now, I do understand that you all are having some issues with not being able to see the class. So I've already reached out to Dr. Debbie Smith on the Solana campus, and she's reached out to others. So they're supposed to be working on that and getting that rectified for you all. I'll try to periodically check as often as I can throughout the day to see what's going on. I won't be back online looking actually inside of the class until tonight. But throughout the day, I'll try to look in here and see. So if you all just kind of want to send me a text message, I'll say maybe give it around maybe a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours to see if maybe you can see something then. I'm not sure why you can't. I know that the class is being taught, and I know I have 3 students in there, and it's Mary, Sakita, and Kiana. So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's because you all are being transferred to the Solana campus and they haven't transferred you all the way in. I'm not sure. So that part I cannot answer, but I have sent the email to the individuals that I know are capable of taking care of it, and they'll get it worked on for me. So I've already checked my email. She's already reached out to a couple of other individuals to get them to assist me with that. And these are individuals that have the capabilities of adding textbooks and all that kind of stuff. Because my textbook was not added this morning or last night, I just went ahead and copied over my book. So when you log into the class, you should be able to see your syllabus. You should be able to see your book. You'll be able to see everything under course home that you're supposed to see. And you'll be able to see the classroom online expectations. When you click on the word that says week 1, you'll be able to see what we're covering for week 1 as far as the reading chapters. And then you ought to be able to see everything This is when you have the access to the class. You ought to be able to see everything under day 1, everything. And then for day 2, you're only going to be able to see the homework that's listed on day 2. Same thing for day 3, except with day 3, you will see homework listed and the syllabus acknowledgement. And then on the day 4, you're only going to be able to see the homework. Everything else, you're not going to be able to see it. It's not time for you to see it. So you all have been in enough online classes to pretty much know how this is going to go. You're going to have a daily assignment every day. It may be 1 assignment, 2 assignments. It just kind of depends. You're going to have quizzes periodically. And what I'm going to do today is just kind of give you a really general overview of what the class is about. And then every week when we have a meeting, whether it's live or it's a pre-recorded video, I'm going to tell you what you're going to be doing every day, each day of that week, so that you could just kind of have a heads up. So, but before we do any of this, we got to do some housekeeping rules. So, not necessarily rules, but some housekeeping. So I noticed this morning or last night, I keep saying this morning, but last night I noticed that you all are not in the correct time zone. So when you get an opportunity, I need you to go into your portal, into the class, and change your time zone from Mountain to Central Time. I need y'all to do that sometime today, because if you don't do that, it's going to mess you up, because I'm on Central Time. So when I'm setting up the assignments and the quizzes, all of that kind of stuff is on Central Time. So when you go into the classroom, you're going to actually go into your settings. And this should be something, you probably haven't done this in a while, but you have done it. And so you'll just go into your settings. Like when you log in, above the word course home, you're going to see like a little tire wheel button. And if you kind of put your cursor over, it'll say user settings. You're going to click on that button. That's where you go in there and change from Mountain Time, and you need to be on Central Time Zone. So you can be on the same time zone with me, so that you won't run that risk of when you submit an assignment, it's going to count it as being late because you're on a totally different time zone. You thinking that because Mountain Time, I think, is 2 hours, maybe 2 hours behind us. So when you thinking that you're turning in something at 10 o'clock, or let's just say, for instance, you're turning in something at 10:59, you're thinking that you're getting it in by 11 or so, or let's say, for instance, you turn in something at 11:15, when it's actually 1:15 our time. That's going to get kind of late. And what's going to happen is that Dropbox is not going to open, because, and then I'm going to get a text that says, Ms. Gaines, the Dropbox is not open, and I'm looking like, I won't even answer that text, because it'll be 1 o'clock in the morning. If it's 11:15, 1 o'clock, I won't even answer that text. And then I'm going to be like, no, Dropbox was open. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at your time zone. I'm going to be like, you're in the wrong time zone. So you got to make sure that you get that changed today before you submit your assignment. So,
so that's. We have to go to.
Go ahead.
Ms. Gaines, you said we have to go into settings to change our time zone.
Right. So you go in when you log into the class, on the left hand side, your navigation pane, when you see the word course home, above that you're gonna see 3 buttons. One button is a home button, then another button is a log out button, that middle button, and that last button, that button to the right, it looks like a tire wheel. You're going to click on that. Okay. That's your user setting button.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
All right, and then the next thing I had on my list, these were housekeeping things, is to make sure your book is downloaded on your iPad, or if not on your iPad, just making sure that when you go into the classroom, you can indeed see the book for the class. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. And the next thing I had was for you just to check the class, make sure you can see everything. But you all have already alerted me that you having issues with that. So, like I said, I've already reached out to the individuals that's supposed to be handling that, so that you all could be able to get into that class soon and see what you need to see. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of go over basically what you're going to be doing this week. But prior to that, let me just kind of talk to you about what this type of class is all about. So the name of the class is Risk Management in Healthcare Settings. And basically, that's all we're going to talk about. When you look at your book, when you get access to your book, and I have mine up, I can just pull it up for you. There are 3 parts to the book, but there are 17 chapters. So the first 7 chapters of the book deals with risk management, administrative issues. That's the first part of the book. Those are things like regulatory environment, risk management and employment, communications within the departments or facilities to reduce risk. Chapter 5 talks about financing risk. Chapter 6 talk about ethical issues for risk management. And then chapter 7 is about assuring safety and security in healthcare institutions. Now, part 2 of your book deals with managing risk in clinical services. Okay, so those are where you use patient safety tools, risk management in high-risk hospital settings, infection control programs, psychiatry, telemedicine, and medical malpractice. And then in part 3, we deal with managing risk in other healthcare venues. That means in other healthcare settings, such as there's risk management associated with ambulatory care settings. And if you've had classes before, you should know by now that ambulatory care settings, those are your settings where you're dealing with outpatients and services that are done in an outpatient setting. There's risk management even in those settings. There's also risk management when you're dealing with long term. And you should know that because most long-term risk management issues usually are from slips, trips, falls. That's like one of the number one thing in long-term care. The second thing in long-term care is usually something in medication errors. Now there are some others, but those are some of the main ones. So you have risk management in that, and then you also have risk management in office-based surgery. So that's surgical procedures that are done within offices. Some doctors' offices actually do a little surgery, like they may do some suturing, they may put in some stitches. They just do different little things. Nothing really, really major, but some offices do some surgical procedures. There's risk management even associated with that. Anytime you have surgery of any sort, whether it's in a doctor's office, a little minor something, or it's in a hospital, a little minor something, or it's in a hospital and it's a major something, you're going to always run that risk of acquiring some type of infection. We call it today hospital-acquired infections when it's something that happens in a hospital. When it's in the doctor's office, it's just a plain old infection. But every time you have surgery, you run that risk. So why do you run that risk, Ms. Gaines? Because you got to understand, first of all, you're dealing with utensils that should be sterilized to a certain temperature to prevent infection. That's number one. So that's why in hospital settings, you have a sterilization department. Their job is solely to make sure any utensils that the doctor uses is kept clean from any kind of infection, because those utensils, believe it or not, it's not like they're thrown away. They're used on patients all the time, over and over again, but they should be sterilized and cleaned and sanitized to a point where there is no germ and there should not be any transferring of one infection from one person to another, but you always have that small risk. That's just a risk that you take. You got your body open, your pores are open, parts are there, you got transferring of blood and all other kind of fluids is subject to happen, but that's a risk that you take. Okay, so you got that to deal with. Then when you're dealing with surgery, you have the risk of the individual that's performing the surgery. Are they gloved? Are they clean? Are they keeping the area sanitized? Are they making sure that they iodine or use iodine in the areas that they're supposed to use it to clean that area? Are they keeping that area sterile and clean? Are they keeping that area protected from infections? That's what you have to deal with. So anytime you have any surgical procedure, you run a risk with that. So hospitals have to have a risk management department. That department only deals with incidents that have happened, whether it was a adverse incident or whether it was a negligent incident, it doesn't matter. They have to deal with that on a daily basis. That's what their sole job is. Now, in also dealing with risk management, whether it's in a hospital or a doctor's office, what did I name before? Slips, trips, falls, medication errors. That's just a few things, but you have so many more. And in every area of any department, it doesn't matter what the department is, there is a possibility of risk. You can have risk in a doctor's office just from a hazard with an outlet or something. Somebody can plug into something. It was a bad outlet. It can cause a fire. Anything like that can happen. So you have to be really careful with even if you work in a doctor's office or a hospital, you have to really be careful because you still run the risk. Even in a doctor's office, they can still have risks associated with infections. Not all doctor's offices are clean. Not all of them are neat. And when you're in an office that's not neat, it's always something on the floor, desk always chaotic, that's a risk factor. Because guess what? Anything can happen. Just think if you didn't keep rooms clean in the doctor's office and the nurses going in and out of there, they drawing blood, giving shots, administering medication, and they laying needles down on the bed, laying needles down on the desk or whatever, and they're not putting them in the proper places. That's a risk. What if they're using needles and stuff and not putting them in a sharps container? That's a risk. So what if they're leaving tourniquets on a patient's arm and they're forgetting to take that off? That's a risk because guess what? That patient, especially in nursing homes and long-term care facilities, leaving that tourniquet on too long, they can lose circulation. That can affect them in so many ways. And I mean, so whatever area you decide to manage, you got to always understand and know there's going to be risk associated in every single area. So basically all we do in this class, because it's only 4 weeks, so I don't have time to just really go into it and get into it like I want to. But what I do have the ability to do is to expose you to as much stuff as I can in dealing with risk management. And that's what my goal is. So what I have set up in here for students to do is what I call, you just do a lot of different types of activities. And everything that you do, every single activity that you touch in the class, with the exception of anything dealing with writing a paper, because you're going to have to write a paper. I'll talk about that in a minute. But all of your other activities, all of them center around risk management in some form or fashion. So in the class, although I'm teaching you about risk management, like I said, I don't have the time to really go into it like I want to, but I am exposing you by giving you different activities of things associated with risk in a healthcare setting. Believe it or not, employee theft, patient theft, those are risks inside of a facility. Even though you may say, but no one's getting hurt. But how do you know that? Because guess what? You could have a situation where an employee stole from another employee, and you could have a disagreement, argument, or even a fight to break out right there on the job. So many people can get hurt from that. People now, when they have disagreements, arguments, you don't know what folks got in their cars, their trunks, their purses. You just don't know. And that little one simple thing can spark an incident, and several people could get hurt. Same thing with patient theft. Same exact thing. So all of those things have to do with risk management, fire safety, infant abduction, workplace violence. All of that has to do with risk management. And you're going to do a lot of video. You'll do a lot of videos in here. You'll do some PowerPoint activities in here. I'm going to let you do some OSHA training in here. Kind of expose you to some acronyms that are used in risk management, a lot of key terms dealing with risk management. One of the things that you're going to do in here is what I call lab safety. Now, that's not in your book, but because I've taught lab, and that's what my specialty is, I have a whole set of slides that are already in Doc Sharon on lab safety. Because believe it or not, if you're going to work in a doctor's office and he does labs in his office, you need to understand what lab safety is. Even if you're not doing labs in a doctor's office, but you have some sort of a lab-centered room per se, well, maybe that's where you give your shots and your meds or whatever you do, you need to know the risk associated with that. But it goes into much more than that because it talks about, protective equipment, personal protective equipment, gloves and gowns and, safety glasses, things that individuals should be using when they're doing certain things as it pertains to a patient. So you're going to kind of learn a little bit about that kind of stuff. And so that's pretty much what the class is about per se, the class itself. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mention about your final research paper. I know that you cannot see this right now, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go over the paper real briefly. I don't want you to worry about trying to write down anything about the paper. I just kind of want you to listen to me because the paper is already in Doc Sharon and it's going to say Risk Management in Healthcare Research Paper. So you will know what it is, okay? This is going to be a 4-page paper. This is your final paper that's due week 4. I'm telling you about it today because you can go ahead and get started. You don't have to wait till the last minute. When you open it up in Doc Sharon, it's going to say risk management in healthcare. That's really the topic of the paper. So that's what your running head should be focused on. Risk management in healthcare, 4-page paper. Of course, the 4 pages does not include your title page, abstract, or reference page. Those pages are inclusive to themselves. The paper is worth 100 points. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to write about risk management based on the information I have for you to discuss. So just kind of listen to me real briefly and let me just kind of go over that and then I'll kind of discuss what you're going to do for this week and then we'll be done. So for the paper, I need you to start thinking about 2 specific departments within a hospital of your choice for the paper. So now when I say specific departments, you've had enough classes to pretty much know several types of departments that are in a hospital. But I'll give you a hint. If you have forgotten and you still have all of your books on your iPad, go to the book that you use for managing healthcare information. I think that was HCA 1700. See if you can find that book. And inside that book, I want to say it's chapter 2 or 3. There was a listing of all different types of departments within healthcare settings. So you had like emergency department, psychiatry department, you have tissue department, you got all kinds of stuff, all kinds of departments. Just pick 2. And if you just cannot find that book, then just Google departments within healthcare settings, and then just find you 2 departments that you have a liking for. This is not to be anything dealing with a doctor's office. So I don't want a long-term care. I don't want an adult daycare. I don't want a nursing care. I want 2 departments within a hospital. And there are several of them. So pick 2 departments. And for each department, the first thing that you're going to do after you pick those 2 departments, I want you to then think about a specific area of concern of risk management for those departments. That can be slips, trips, and falls. That's an area. That's one area by itself. Medication errors can be another department. Another area of concern. But then you have so many others. You have chemical hazards. You have physical hazards. You have all those different things that are classified as some sort of a concern of risk management. Once you pick your 2 departments, then you need to pick a specific area of concern. So let's just say you do slips, trips, and falls. So you've got to discuss for each one of those departments how slips, trips, and falls affects those 2 departments. So let's say if you choose emergency room and psychiatric department. How does slips, trips, and falls affect both of those departments? That's the first thing that you discuss. So then the next thing I want you to think about is compliance plans. So the question is, what is the purpose of a compliance plan in healthcare, and what are the elements of an effective compliance plan? That's a research item. I can't tell you about that. You're going to have to research about that. The next thing that you're going to discuss, what is a risk assessment and why is it important to healthcare facilities? That's a research item. You got to research that. And then discuss at least 2 ways to prevent risk management in healthcare. That too is a research item. So it's extensive research required for the paper. I challenge you not to wait till the last minute. I also challenge you that if you're going to be working on a paper starting this week, keep up with all of the areas where you're going to get information, because that helps to build your reference page, because you're going to have to format that reference page properly. And the one thing I do want to stress, you all have got to make sure that when you're doing your paper, you're using in-text citations. You can't list a lot of citations on a reference page and never reference those citations within your paper. You have to have in-text citations. When you don't have in-text citations and you start looking at your grading rubric, that's going to cost you 15 points for not having those in-text citations. And then when you put the in-text citations in there, they have to be properly formatted as well. So now I put out there a sample APA paper for you, and I also put in DocSharing samples of how you should be formatting your references. And it's a document that has all different types, because you may get some information from some magazines, you may get some information from some journals, you may get some information from some newspapers, you may get some information from online databases. Wherever you're getting your information from, you have to properly cite it in an APA format. So I've given you all of that in DocSharing, but in the Webliography, you have a lot of resources there. Google Scholar is out there. The library database is out there. APA website link is out there. You have the resources, but you got to utilize them. But that's pretty much what you're going to do in your paper. Again, you'll be able to go in DocSharing and see the paper, because I already have it out there, because I want to make sure I discuss that on day 1. So that if you want to get started and do a little bit per week, you can do that. So that way at the end, you don't have a lot to do. The paper is not even due until Tuesday, October 24th. So if you want to wait till Monday and do it of that week, that's fine. But there will be no late papers accepted, because you're getting the information on the first day of class. So you got literally 3 weeks to work on it. I did attach your reference. I did attach your rubric at the bottom of the paper. It's just a 1-page document. So everything about the paper is on this 1 page. And again, it's located in DocSharing. for you to go out there and look at when you get an opportunity. So I just wanted to hit that before I move on. Now, the syllabus, as I stated, is already out there, the entire syllabus. Right now, I don't foresee any changes unless there's an error in my point system or something. I don't foresee any changes, so it's pretty much going to. I'm pretty much going to stick with that syllabus for the time being. We have no makeup days this month. There's no holidays or anything to make up, so you'll be strictly Monday through Thursday the entire month. Okay, now as far as anything in course home, I'll let you read all of that when you get an opportunity, along with the classroom and online expectations and the syllabus addendum. You can read all of that before you actually submit your syllabus acknowledgement form. So for week one, when you click on week one, we're going to basically do kind of like 5 chapters per week. That includes homework too. So your homework going to be chapters 1 through 5, week 1, chapters 6 through 10, week 2, chapters 11 through 15, week 3, and then 16, 17, week 4. Homework, like in all my classes, due on Saturdays by 11:59 p.m. I don't take the late homework assignment because I give you all week. So you got to make sure that you get your homework in. So let me just kind of caution you about the homework. When you go in there and access homework and you decide that you're not going to finish it at that time, you got to make sure that you remind yourself to go back and finish it. And I've noticed that in a few classes where you've accessed the homework, but you never went back to go and complete the homework assignment. So you got to make sure you do that, and you got to make sure that you hit the submit button so that I can go in there and grade it and give you a grade. It's kind of a mixture as far as, true, false, or multiple choice or whatever. So I'll make sure that I check every homework assignment to make sure there's no fill in the blank or some short answer that I need to take a look at. And if so, just know in any instance of that, your grade could be adjusted because I need to go in there and manually look at some things. But other than that, unless it's a short answer segment or like a fill in the blank, if it's going to be true, false, multiple choice, and matching, it's going to be system graded. I won't do anything to change that grade. It'll be as it stands. So for day 1 today, you have an activity out there. It's called Slips, Trips, Falls. And basically it is a video. For all of the videos that you're going to be asked to look at, whether it's a lecture video or an activity video, all of them will always be loaded in DocSharing. Now for the lecture videos, they will be when you click on the link and it says audio video lecture. Once you click on the link, you'll actually see the video there. But as far as videos for activities, they will all be located in Webliography. If at any point you click the link, it doesn't work, then you just copy and paste the link into a browser. It'll open it up. All of them are YouTube videos. If you're ever not doing a video, it's because you're doing a Word document assignment or you're doing a PowerPoint assignment. So those will be kind of like the variations of the assignments that you do. There are going to be some assignments that you'll do in the portal. It'll be located to the left. If that's a matching or something like that, I'll have it set up. It'll be, and that way it's because I want the system to grade it. But I'll always let you know per week what kind of assignment you're going to be doing and how you can expect the format. So for this one, it is a video. So you'll look at the video. And of course, when you go to DocSharing and click on day 1 class activity, the instructions are there. So it'll tell you to look at the video and answer the questions below. The questions are in the Word document. The video is separate to itself. It's in Webliography. So you got to look at the video in order to answer the questions. You're not going to be able to answer the questions without looking in that video because the answers are in the video. These are not no answers you just randomly looked up. They come from the video. So if they're not in the video, they're going to be marked wrong. Okay, it's a really short video. It's not that long. I think it's like a 5-minute video. But you may have to listen to it several times to try to get the answers to the questions. But you have that to do today. You have your first threaded discussion that's out there. So make sure you get your initial post in today before 11:59. We're already doing our go-to meeting. You already know about the journals. You have until Tuesday night to get that in. And then I've already put your first couple of chapters of homework out there, chapters 1 and 2. Again, homework will be listed every day. You'll see it under every single day. You will see some sort of homework something. But just know that homework is actually due on Saturday. Tomorrow, Tuesday, you're going to have a class activity. And actually, you're going to do something on lab safety. That's what that's going to be about. So you'll have the instructions for that. I'm going to put you some audio lecture type videos out there in correspondence to the chapters that you're reading this week. You're going to do a plagiarism quiz. I pretty much have just made it up in my mind to put that quiz out there just about every month because that is like my best reminder to students. So you're going to have that plagiarism activity to do, and you should already see your homework for chapter 3. On Wednesday, and then tomorrow as well, you'll be doing your response postings. I'll try to chime in with you all, but if I don't chime in with you all, there are 3 of you all in the class. You still should be able to get your 3 postings in because you're going to have your initial post, and then each of you have 2 classmates to respond to. For Wednesday, you're going to have a brand new discussion. You are going to have a activity. That activity is on, and you're going to be looking at a fire safety video and answering some questions. You have your syllabus acknowledgement that's going to be due, and then your homework chapter 4 is already open. Then, of course, on Thursday, you're going to have a quiz. Your chapter 5 homework is already open, and you have an activity. So that activity, you're going to do watch a video on infant abduction. So you'll watch a video, answer some questions. So that's pretty much what you got for the week. I know that I gave you a lot of information in this particular meeting, which is why I'm going to upload it so you can go back and listen to it and capture some things that you may have forgotten. But this is pretty much week 1 in a nutshell. That's all I have to share today. Like I said, I'll still try to keep looking periodically to make sure you all have access to the class. Hopefully they'll get it fixed within the next hour or so. But again, I'm not sure what's going on with it. Nobody has said anything to me. I ain't got an email from anybody to say if the students say this, that, and etc. So I thought everything was fine. I have stuff out there. It's not that I don't have the stuff out there because I do. So before we end, do y'all have any questions? Immediate questions?
No.
No, I don't.
Okay, so like I said, as soon as we get off the phone, as soon as we get offline, I'm going to upload this video. It's going to be under day 1, go-to meeting, and you just scroll down to the bottom and you will see it. And that way you'll be able to go back and listen to the video and captivate anything that you may have missed during the video, okay?
Okay.
All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to let you all go so you can get your day started. Just kind of text me within another hour or 2 to see how things are going with the class, okay?
I know, I just took a look at the portal and it was still the same on my end. So I'll be checking back
Okay, good.
on that.
Okay, well, y'all just keep checking back and then just keep me posted, okay?
Okay.
Okay, all right, ladies. Y'all have a wonderful day. Hope all goes well. Don't change your time zone.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.